Welcome back, folks. Today we're going to go through 10 RPGs I'm excited about, some smaller, some bigger, but one aspect which you will see on this list are a few games I had a chance to already try out, either in a demo or through additional or early access to those demos. Of course, there are many RPGs to follow these days, as more and more smaller development teams are trying to get their voices out there, being that we have seen how much impact smaller development teams with good ideas can make. But enough yapping, let's get into the list. First one is Sword Hero, and the reason it caught my eye was because the idea behind it feels good, as it's drawing a lot of inspiration from Gothic, so you can sort of feel what kind of game, design this will be. Also, I do like the art style developer is going for here, retro graphics, but what makes it, good is that the art design complements gameplay and immersion. Combat will also be brutal, which you can see for yourself because demo is still available at the time of recording this video. It's mostly an arena, but you will get a feel of itemization and some weapons. It also has interesting limb system, which you can choose to, either heal or attack with the enemies, because enemies have a same system. So if you want to, let's say, go after someone who is holding a sword in his right arm, well, if you attack it, you might break it, and well, you can fight that way. Game also went viral on Kickstarter because it reached over 200,000 out of 35,000 goal. So the game is funded. Right now we just have to wait for the final release that is still relatively far away, but Sword Hero is one of those games to keep an eye out for if you like the style and gameplay formula. It will be an interactive open world as developer says, so I'm looking forward to see all of the biomes and enemies we will fight. Next up we have Deadhaus Sonata, a new action RPG from the creator of Legacy of Kain, who now brings us a vampire story that will be sort of roguelike RPG where you will be going onto the map where the story unfolds. As you play, you can also unlock and collect cards, which are abilities you can mix and match to shape the character you want. Imagine something similar maybe to Witchfire in terms of going out and going back from that map into the base, but it's not going to be exactly that because it's going to follow a certain story structure. I also had a chance to check out this game's demo early. Keep in mind that this demo is, well, very alpha in development, being that they got a lot of traction on Twitter, so they ultimately decided to release a build so people can test it out. Overall, I like the idea. Combat, at least in this stage, feel like it can be very interesting and deep on release, like the use of abilities, generally fast-paced encounters, and enemies deal also a ton of damage, so you have to be careful. But as I said, there is only so much I could experience because, well, the second map was having major FPS issues. So the game will require a lot of additional work, and so far it says 2026, but again, no exact release date, and I think we won't see that for a while. It does say it will have 15 hours of narrated content and endless loot, which is sort of standard for these kind of games, but only if it's implemented right. So again, we'll see. It has potential and it has, ability to have a lot of depth in it when it's fully fleshed out, and of course we will get a chance to try out the game when it's out. Next title on the list is a project I have been following for quite some time now, and it's Forsaken Realms' Vahrin's Call, which is going to be a story-driven RPG set in the handcrafted high fantasy world of Leda. Developers have been posting gameplay snippets for ages now, and I wanted to cover this before, but it's good that I waited a bit because, well, there is a lot more to show now. They were also very open to suggestions and feedback, looking at what people like and what systems are enjoyable for them in other RPGs. And I won't lie, like world-wise, this just feels really good to look at, especially from the art style, and it has a lot of potential. Again, keep in mind that these dev teams are not some huge AAA companies, but rather just that, small teams with big ideas. Features they are promising here, as I said, is going to be the original handcrafted fantasy universe, and we're gonna be ridding the Veil from many threats that want to destroy it. But we can also explore the world, find many puzzles, challenges, and secrets. You will be able to customize your armor, weapons, spells, potions, traps, and the rest which we will have at our disposal, including the large array of character creation options, full voice acting in English, and full controller support. And I can't describe how long I've been waiting to play this. Right now we don't have the exact release date, but they've made great progress over the years as I've been following them on their socials. You can 100% expect this game on the channel as soon as it comes out. Next on the list we have Knight's Path, upcoming story-driven action RPG, which will be set in the grounded low fantasy world inspired by the Holy Roman Empire, where you rise from a nobody to a respected knight. Combat itself, as they say here, will be Hema inspired, so at least from some of this footage we can see it will be very brutal and rewarding, but punishing if you make a mistake. Recently it also garnered a lot of attention as it got embroiled in the culture war as it happens on Twitter, which I won't even get into to save some brain cells for both you and me, but I like that developers are very open for what they want in their game, and ultimately they're just setting out to make the type of game we used to get before. So it will be a full single player title. Fingers crossed when it comes out there will be a DRM free GOG release. We shall see about that though. Overall, at the moment, there isn't too much to show about this besides the trailer they have posted, as again, the game is just getting into proper development. There is no release window or even a year. I don't expect this to happen in 2026, so don't keep your hopes up yet for a fast release. At the end of the day, low fantasy seems like it will fit right into this universe that they want to create, especially fighting this thing with the Hema style will be interesting, like how? They're also promising historically grounded armor with satisfying progression, minimal UI for that immersive world where NPCs have routines and daily schedules. Basically aspects that we know work if you want to set out and make an RPG that looks like this. So I'm very excited about this game and I cannot wait to eventually play it. Now this RPG, Shores of Vaelithar, is probably one of the more interesting RPGs I've encountered, specifically visual style wise. It feels like one of those animations people create where you almost feel like you are in a painting, and it's not something easy to pull off, especially depth wise. Now if you want to go count in combat and everything else, I'm really looking forward to see how that will work, but the vibes I'm getting from this, being a retro dark fantasy RPG adventure, seems like it has potential. Now as they said here, you are cast forsaken upon the shores of Vaelithar. You are but a hapless villager thrust into this dark, unforgiving world to bear the spark of fate. Besides the usual melee weapons, there will be a magical system, so you will be able to choose between warrior, wizard or a rogue, depending on your playstyle. It will also have co-op, but primarily it will be a single player title, although having the ability to have even more people there could be fun, we shall see. They also said that there will be an expansive procedural endgame dungeon experience. We shall see how that goes, but overall, as I said, art style is probably one of the more interesting aspects of this game, and if they pull this right, I mean, if it's fun in the end, I'm really excited to see it in action when it's released, but right now we don't have actual release window. Next title is very interesting as it's a game made by a team which belongs to Carnage, a creator that I really respect in terms of just content he does, and I feel like he has the right mindset when it comes to what sort of a game he would go for. Primarily something he would play himself, but it's described as a combo of a Diablo Light and Stardew Valley. I like both games, so I feel this might be something to keep an eye out for. Your job will be to save people and ultimately set up, well, Emberville, and you will be using those rescued NPCs to help out, where you will learn trades, secrets, and also assist them in their own quest. So your deeds will shape how the town will look and probably how the story develops as well alongside it. Besides the usual combat, you will be able to customize your own space. Even I see some farming here. I feel like that's where it draws a lot of inspiration from Stardew Valley, which again is a very interesting combo, and art style wise it feels very well made. How it's going to be in action we shall see. Emberville is coming out in 2026, no exact release date by the time I'm recording this video, but I will definitely cover this when it comes out because I can sort of feel what this game can be and what it wants to be, with major focus on exploration where you will uncover additional secrets. I am glad when creators who spend most of their time playing games go into actual development, especially those who get what gaming is all about, so I wish them the best on release and during development itself. Ko also played it for a bit on his stream. I will leave a link to it down below. You can also find all of the other socials from the games I mentioned in this video in case you are interested. Next title on the list is Outward 2, a sequel to a very successful and in my opinion amazing RPG, where you are not some knight or a chosen one with special powers and abilities, but rather an ordinary person that shapes its own path. If you played Outward, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't, well, the game has it all, from survival elements to full-on exploration with incredibly brutal combat where if you are downed, it doesn't mean it's game over. Maybe you are taken to an enemy camp, maybe you are robbed or wake up in some scary cave, so each move you make and, well, stuff you encounter, well, you have to pay attention to it 100% because if you don't, you will die in this game a lot. Especially if you play this for the first time, but it's very rewarding and fun once you get the hang of it. Outward 2 will give you a lot of freedom, as Outward 1 did, and it's up to you to decide what you do with it. Now, I also had a chance to playtest Outward 2, big thanks to 9.studio for including me in it. It wasn't too long, of course. The main stress test was for the co-op segment, where it can be really fun to just explore, stuff with your buddy. I feel like Outward 2 was really expanded in the right way. Of course, very early to say how that will go, but gameplay wise feels very similar to the first one, and to be honest, the starting zone, at least in the, well, demo that we've gotten, is looking very good. As always, you will have to be careful how much you carry. Getting a good backpack, better weapons, armor, and all is one of the most fun aspects of the first game, so I'm sure the second one will do fine. Right now, the release date is for Q3 of 2026. No exact release date yet, but once we learn something new, I will report it on the channel. Of course, as many of you know, Gothic is my favorite game of all time. It started my channel with it and I always go back to it as it's one of the best RPG games ever made. Now, in those years, I never fully expected that I will be covering an actual remake, which for a long time was just that, a wish for many people. If you didn't know, sadly Piranha Bytes' original studio has been closed, but even before that we learned that the new studio was formed, Alchemia Interactive by THQ, which will handle the remake, and it's made up from people who worked on the original, like Kai Rosenkrantz, which will do the soundtrack for it, as he, serves also as an advisor on what they were doing initially in the first place all those years ago, because, well, he was present to all of it. And to be fully honest with you, I'm happy that they're doing it because of their approach, as they respect fully original work and, but it's still putting their own ideas into it while keeping the core of the game as it was, being that, well, those systems made it popular and good in the first place. So it will be a mix of original work, their ideas, and community feedback, which they have been listening a lot, providing demos along the way, where we were able to send feedback and see what we experienced so far and how we want to see the game shaping up. It will also feature expanded Valley of Mines, being that, well, it's a newer game, so they won't change it, but rather keep, well, original outlines and paths we all remember, the new camp, the old camp, the swamp camp, but everything else, like adding and fixing stuff, will be on locations that were unused or simply cut from the original. They do have access to what developers initially wanted to do in those locations, and they want to respect that, which is, well, very good of handling this remake, being that the Gothic community is very, very tough, which is fine, but maybe sometimes too much, as we were burned many times in the past. Especially when another studio takes to make a Gothic game, but I think right now Alchemia is probably the best shot we have at the moment. And at least so far I don't see anything big, which is like very problematic in that sense. The world looks fantastic, so revisiting the Valley of Mines again will be, fun, which is gonna be bigger in scale as well. I do hope this will be a success and have a smooth release, because, well, then maybe we will get Gothic 2 Remake, but let's not get ahead of ourselves and see how this one does first. Just recently it was revealed that the game is launching on June 5th, so a slight delay from Q1 of 2026, which they initially said, but at least right now we know exactly when this game is coming out. Next on the list we have Fable, upcoming RPG from Playground Games, which is going to be sort of a revival for the IP, being that it's been ages since we had a new one. Also, it will be interesting to see how Playground will tackle this, as Fable is very, beloved game and a beloved universe that had its ups and downs, so this will serve as a new beginning. Of course, at the same time, I'm a bit reserved right now because, well, I'm waiting for the full release, hoping that everything will be good. Through the showcase they have mentioned some good things, although the aspect is more on the world changing rather than your character, because, well, there will be a character creator, but it won't include morality based changes like Halo or Horns, which I'm sure many people would like to see, but it is what it is. At the same time, personally, for me, if other systems are good, since we will have the rest, like characters reacting to our decisions, or if we are rich, or if we are good or bad, if we buy a lot of houses or businesses, there will be a reaction from the world about those decisions, so that aspect is still in. And also they will still maintain the aspect of NPCs being individuals that we can marry or hire to work in one of our shops. So overall it does have Fable aspects to it, but how will it play in action, we shall see. I just hope that optimization will be good, because graphically it looks very nice. Maybe a bit too clean for the original vibe, but I really hope this game is a success, because, well, Fable fans have been waiting for it for a very long time, and it would be really nice if this game comes out and it's a big success. And for the end, which is a surprise to no one, we have The Witcher 4. I know it's still a bit far away, but this is one of my most anticipated games right now, putting us in the shoes of Ciri, as she is now all fully grown up and, well, ready to set out on the path which we got a hint of in one of the endings to The Witcher 3. We are also going to Kovir, a part of the Witcher world that I cannot wait to see and explore, and particularly having the mix of, well, Ciri being a witcher and a sorceress at the same time, combat could be interesting. And we are finally getting to use the chain as well. I'm sort of sad that we never got to use it as Geralt, but better late than never. Another aspect would be to see what happened in the meantime with other characters like Geralt, Yennefer and Triss and all that, because, well, they will be in the game. I see no reason why not, especially from the endings of The Witcher 3, so that will be fun. We still sadly don't have any gameplay. The footage you are seeing is from the tech demo, and that's all that is, a tech demo. It's not representative of the final release or even the game itself. It's just ideas they want to put, but are they be able to put all of them? If it's going to look like this, we shall see. But being that we are getting somewhat closer to the release here, there is a strong chance we might get proper trailer or even some gameplay on either Summer Game Fest this year, Gamescom, or at the end of the year, in the worst case scenario on the Game Awards. But that's just my speculation. There isn't an official confirmation on any of these events. My biggest interest is how they will tackle combat this time, well, as well as the story, where it goes from now. And even though she was trained by both Geralt and Vesemir, I hope we see a style which will be her stamp in a sense. It's tough to describe what I mean by this, so I will have to wait until we get a proper gameplay video. And these are some of the RPGs I'm looking forward to. There are more, of course, and people will probably ask why I didn't mention like Cyberpunk 2. Well, Cyberpunk 2 is still very, very, very far away, and I can't fit them all, as I said in one video. And I'm sure there will be comments about Crimson Desert as well. Well, I keep seeing statements that it's not technically an RPG, but keep in mind that I am very much interested in it, and we'll talk about it in a separate video because there is a lot to cover about that game. You can tell me down below what other RPGs are you looking forward to and what would you like me to cover and check out as well. New games are announced daily and it's hard to keep track on all of them, big or small. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, consider liking and subscribing. Check us out on Twitter and Discord, and huge thanks to my current Patreon supporters. This is LKM signing out, and we'll see you very soon with a new video. Bye bye.